Most mothers protect their offspring. It's part of the job description. And this isn't just true for humans, but also for animals. These are the 20 most protective animal mothers. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Gorillas. It's said that gorillas are our closest relatives in the animal kingdom, and you've probably heard stories of gorillas protecting human children at certain times. But how good are they at raising their own offspring? Gorillas form strong bonds and stay together as family units for life, showing the connection that parents have with their children and their desire to remain close to them, no matter the circumstances. After birth, baby gorillas are placed on their mother's back and cling to her fur as they are carried around. Gorilla mothers are very protective and, as such, keep a constant watch over their young. However, the mother also does gentler things like grooming, cleaning, and playing with her baby. Number 2. Giraffes. Here's an interesting fact. Giraffes give birth standing up. This is important for a very basic reason. After a 15-month pregnancy, giraffes give birth to a calf that weighs about 45 to 68 kilograms and is about 1.80 meters tall. Yes, they carry a baby of that size for months, and when they drop it, it's already huge, and in no time, it's up on its feet and walking. That's the animal kingdom, folks. However, the mother doesn't have to raise her little giraffe alone. Giraffes have a sort of nanny system, where the mother can leave her calf with other females while she goes out to hunt and search for food for everyone. They are always alert, protecting themselves and their young, which is why they only sleep about 30 minutes a day, usually just a few minutes at a time. However, they do this to ensure the survival of their calves against poachers and the dangers in their habitat. Number 3. Dolphins. Dolphins are social, intelligent, agile, joyful, and playful animals that share many emotional similarities with humans, which undoubtedly explains why we like them so much and enjoy watching them at water parks. But when it comes to being mothers, they really excel at what they do. Dolphin mothers become teachers as soon as their baby is born, and the first lesson is how to breathe. They are also very protective of their offspring, which shouldn't come as much of a surprise, considering dolphins are one of the few animals that regularly face sharks. Another thing they do is teach their babies how to have fun, undoubtedly helping the species to be much more enjoyable and not just fun to watch as they leap from the water. Their social circles also ensure the protection of both mothers and future mothers so that the best possible offspring can be born and raised. Number 4. Goats. Goats are a tricky breed when it comes to motherhood, to the point where there are guides to help farmers ensure their female goats are good mothers and don't abandon their kids after giving birth, because this apparently happens quite often. However, when a good goat mother is present, she goes to great lengths to protect her kids, such as nursing them as much as necessary, hiding them from predators, and so on. Each kid has a unique call, and along with its scent, this is how the mother recognizes it from birth, not by sight. A very useful tool if you think about it, and it works in the mother's favor. Oh, and if a mother on a farm is considered a bad mother, she basically becomes useless, as she's making the business lose profit by failing to take care of the kids. Number 5. Opossums. Opossums aren't exactly creatures you'd think much about, but they're actually great at motherhood. This is because they have many babies, if things go well for them. This includes one person who found a mother with up to 15 babies at once. That's a lot of work. Opossum babies leave the womb and head straight to their mother's belly, going into her pouch where each baby grabs onto one of the 13 nipples as it feeds. The young opossums complete their development in the pouch and eventually begin to leave it for longer periods as their eyes open, their reflexes develop, and their curiosity grows. When they reach a certain age, they climb onto the mother's back, and it's her responsibility to protect them. However, apparently, if they fall or wander off on their own, she leaves them behind, as she has many others to take care of. It's understandable, given that she has a lot of work to do. Number 7. Wolf spiders. And now, something I really hate talking about. Spiders. But why do I hate them, you might ask? Well, once they tried to attack my guinea pig, Twinkle, and that will never be forgiven. Since then, I'm always cautious when I see one, especially when it comes to big spiders like the wolf spiders. Although spiders are clearly monsters in my view, they're apparently very good mothers. They carry their unborn spiderlings on their backs inside a silk globe, the egg sac that's attached to the end of the mother's abdomen. This behavior is surprising because, unlike many other species, wolf spiders don't abandon their eggs or offspring at any cost. They carry them with impressive dedication, ensuring their safety as they prepare for birth. And unlike other mothers on this list, who stay close to their children no matter what, the wolf spider is able to hunt and feed while carrying the spiderlings on her back. She maintains an impressive balance between hunting her prey to survive and ensuring her offspring stay protected. But wait, there's more. Eventually the eggs hatch. And what does the mother do then? Well, it's simple. She carries her babies on her back. After hatching, the spiderlings stay protected on their mother's back until they're strong enough to venture out on their own. This is truly unique in the animal kingdom, as many species abandon their offspring right after birth. In the case of the wolf spider, protection and care are continuous. That's right, she never stops protecting them until they can leave on their own and survive. This behavior reflects an incredibly effective survival strategy, as the spiderlings, although eventually independent, aren't ready to face the world alone right after birth. And while the mother continues with her hunting and survival activities, she keeps a constant watch over her little ones, demonstrating the kind of maternal dedication that's rare in many species, especially among spiders. This combination of strength, skill, and protection makes wolf spiders more complex than many might imagine at first glance. And so, let's hope they stay away from Twinkle. I imagine that anything that moves quickly near him, especially if it's a wolf spider, will surely be in trouble. Number 8. Orcas. Now, we know it's hard to recover from that last entry, but I have to keep going, and this time I'm talking about orcas. During the first month of their calves' lives, there is no rest for the orca mother. Orca calves don't sleep at all during the first month, and neither does the mother. On average, orcas sleep or float motionless in the water for about 6 to 8 hours. But when the calf is nearby, they swim continuously for a month to avoid predators and help develop the calf's muscles and fat reserves. This is a huge job for the mother, but it also makes sense, given where they live and what surrounds them. These creatures are incredibly intelligent, and their way of life is a reflection of their extraordinary abilities to adapt to the environment. Orcas, or killer whales, as they are sometimes called, have an impressive level of social organization. They live in matrilineal family groups where mothers play central roles not only in educating the calves, but also in coordinating hunting strategies and protecting against predators. Orcas are apex predators in the marine food chain, and this places a huge responsibility on the mothers, who need to ensure the survival of their calves until they are strong enough to face the world on their own. Moreover, the ocean is a challenging and dangerous place, filled with threats like sharks and other marine predators. Even though they are one of the most powerful species in the sea, orcas need to ensure their calves grow strong and well developed. The task of protecting the orca calf is even more complex because while the mothers swim tirelessly to protect their calves, they also need to teach them how to move efficiently in the water, balancing feeding and safety. This happens in an environment that can be treacherous. If you stop and think, you're not strong enough to swim in the oceans, especially in certain places. You'd become food even for the weakest predators. Orcas are extremely agile and fast, capable of hunting very large prey such as seals and even sharks. This hunting ability is passed down from generation to generation, with mothers sharing their knowledge with their calves as they grow. And since the orca calf is smaller compared to the mother, it's an easy target if not escorted. Therefore, the mother orca ends up not sleeping a single minute, just like human mothers with their babies during the first months. During this period of intense vigilance and learning, the mother forms a deep bond with her calf, which will be crucial for the orca's social dynamics in the future. This behavior, while exhausting, is essential for the species' survival. The dedication of orca mothers to protecting and caring for their calves is something admirable, and it serves as a powerful reminder of how family interactions are fundamental for success in such a challenging ecosystem as the ocean. Number 9. Sealouse. This might be a bit gross, so don't say I didn't warn you. It will get strange, like an anime mixed with a horror movie, or just a weird anime. The sealouse is a mother who truly deserves a lot of credit for enduring so much in her life, especially when it comes to raising her offspring. Her journey, if you will, begins when a male sealouse decides to mate with her and takes her to his den to do so. That's when the first shock happens, as sea lice have harems. Yes, that's right. A male can have up to 25 different partners who bear his offspring. But the story only gets more disturbing when you understand the process of raising the babies. But it gets much worse. Once she becomes pregnant, her sole purpose is to sit there and wait for the offspring to be born, literally eating her way out of her mother. That's right, that's the horror element, ladies and gentlemen. The sealouse is a species that brings out a dark side of nature, showing how, in some cases, the survival of the offspring may mean the end of the mother. Oh, and the mother, well, she's alive through it all, so she literally feels her babies devouring her from the inside out. Imagine the pain and horror of a creature that cannot move, cannot escape, and just waits for the inevitable. During this process, the mother has no way of stopping her offspring from consuming her body, and the saddest part is that once they finish this terrible task, they leave her behind as if she were just discarded trash. This phenomenon isn't unique to the sealouse, but it's one of the most visceral examples of how cruel nature can be in its workings. In many species, males and females have reproductive methods that are, at best, brutal. However, in the case of the sealouse, the mother plays the role of the final sacrifice, offering her own life to ensure that her offspring can survive and spread through the environment. And the cycle continues, with the next generation of sea lice going through the same horrific stages, perpetuating the cycle of life and death relentlessly. This behavior is an extreme example of what's called the RK reproductive strategy, which describes organisms that produce a massive amount of offspring but give little or no parental attention after birth. The pain and torture of the mother sealouse isn't an accident of nature, but rather an adaptation that ensures the continuity of the species in a world where survival depends on rapid, large-scale reproduction. Number 10. Octopus. The octopus is another creature I often talk about only in relation to its adult phase, but I rarely mention how they deal with their offspring, which is a shame because, as you will find out now, they do a lot for them. For example, a female octopus can lay up to 50,000 eggs, which take about 40 days to develop before hatching. During this entire time, the mother stays nearby, protecting the eggs from predators while gently blowing water currents to provide oxygen. This dedication is not just an instinctive behavior, but a task that requires immense physical endurance, as the mother remains still, sitting by the eggs without eating. And as she is always on alert, she ends up realizing she is quite tasty, and goes as far as eating one of her own tentacles to survive. This act of autophagy reflects the severe resource scarcity during the incubation period. Although the term survive here is short-lived, as the mother octopus dies shortly after the eggs begin to hatch, she does everything she can to ensure her offspring have the best possible chance of surviving in the harsh ocean world. She literally gives everything she has to make sure her offspring are born. After the eggs hatch, the octopus babies begin their lives independently, and the mother's fate is sealed. She has no opportunity to see them grow or guide them in their first steps in marine life. The octopus life cycle is brutal, and its early death is a characteristic of many species that opt for a reproductive strategy of high offspring quantity, but with an extremely high cost for the parents. Of course, this doesn't guarantee that she will have enough energy to care for all the eggs, and there is a significant chance that only a small fraction of the offspring will survive. In addition to the possibility of the mother laying too many eggs, the process always ends in death. The fate of the mother octopus is inevitable, but her dedication is unquestionable. She completely dedicates herself to ensuring the continuation of her species. In some octopus species, like the blue-ringed octopus, the female gives herself to death in an even more dramatic manner, with an extreme sacrifice behavior, where she literally abandons any survival instinct to focus all her energy on reproduction. These sacrifices are common in the animal kingdom, but in the case of octopuses, the combination of intelligence and self-sacrifice makes the story even more impressive. In a world where survival is a ruthless game, the mother octopus becomes a symbol of sacrifice, showing how, in some cases, a mother's life is sacrificed for a better future for her offspring, even if she never lives to see it. This type of sacrifice has been shaped by nature over millions of years and reflects the evolutionary strategies of organisms that must ensure their lineage at any cost. Number 11. Elephant seals. Elephant seals are imposing creatures, regardless of whether they are males or females. They have plenty of size and mass and are not afraid to show it in every possible way. The female typically weighs up to 770 kilograms, but the males can weigh up to 4 times more. These marine mammals are a spectacle of strength and endurance, with a striking presence in the ocean. However, their reproductive life comes with challenges and sacrifices that are undoubtedly extreme. One important point here is that after becoming pregnant, the female starts gaining weight daily for about 11 months, until the time of birth. During this period, she focuses all her resources on nurturing the fetus, accumulating the energy necessary for the birth and subsequent nursing. The pregnancy is a long and exhausting process, and the females must be physically prepared for what lies ahead. However, after giving birth, she loses about 270 kilograms while nursing the pup. All of this in less than a month. This process is incredibly fast and painful, as the mother uses her fat reserves to provide the nutrients needed by the pup. Now that's a weight loss plan that many would like to have. Not that anyone should lose 270 kilograms in a month, but you get what I mean. The mother elephant seal literally dehydrates and exhausts herself to ensure her pup survives the first days of life. And here comes another twist. Despite all this preparation, they have only one pup per winter. And you'd think they'd have a litter, but that's not the case. This means that after such a huge weight loss and effort, she needs to start the cycle again soon, as raising a single pup requires a great investment of energy. This system of having only one pup at a time is an evolutionary strategy where the mother focuses all her resources on ensuring that this pup has the best chance of survival. Moreover, they care for the pup for about 2 months before letting it go on its own journey, which many do not survive. The separation is a natural process but difficult, as the pups must quickly learn to defend themselves in the open sea. This short period of intense maternal care reflects the relentless environment they live in. In fact, it is believed that most female elephant seals give birth to only 1 to 3 pups in their lifetime, dying due to the extreme methods used to give birth. This life cycle, with its high energy costs, reflects the struggle for survival in the ocean, where every breeding season is a battle for the species' continuity. It is a brutal way of life, but it is as if giving birth seals their fate. These females, with their massive and powerful bodies, face a life cycle where reproduction is directly linked to their own loss of life, as the demands of giving birth and nurturing their pups are simply fatal in the long run. Number 12. Redcasked Hornbill. The Redcasked Hornbill is a bird species found in Indonesia, specifically on the island of Sulawesi. They live in tree cavities, where they build their nests and protect their eggs. And protection is a constant priority, as there are many predators around that love to devour eggs, including the monitor lizard. To combat these threats, hornbills reduce the entrance to their nest using a very special sealant, their own feces. You've probably heard the phrase, holding a lot of crap, but these birds are literally using crap to ward off enemies. It may be gross, but it's also genius. After all, who would dare to cross all that just to get a meal? The problem with this, however, cannot be ignored, because while the mother is willing to do this to protect her offspring, she is also prepared to go to great length to ensure that her eggs are not disturbed. What I mean by this is that the female red-casked hornbill will remain inside the hole where the nest is for months, until her eggs hatch and the chicks are capable of taking care of themselves. Essentially, she is depriving herself of food to ensure her eggs stay safe. Not too different from a certain python I mentioned earlier. Obviously, this works well for her in the end, but it's a type of dedication that only a few animals have or are willing to have. And just imagining the smell of that hole, it must be anything but pleasant. Number 13. Orangutans. Depending on who you talk to, the orangutan might be considered an outsider in the primate family, or even the subject of jokes for appearing funny, silly, or clumsy. But don't be fooled by appearances. They are extremely intelligent, especially when it comes to raising their offspring. The highly intelligent orangutan is the ultimate do-it-yourself mother. She spends almost her entire life in the treetops, where she builds a new nest every night using branches and foliage. Over her lifetime, she may build more than 30,000 nests. That's a lot of work, but she does it willingly, thinking about the well-being of her offspring. And there's more. During the first 6 to 7 years of the cubs' lives, she never leaves them. They stay with her all the time so she can nurture them and ensure they grow strong. This is actually the longest continuous bonding period of this type in nature. Elephants don't even count, as they don't nurse for as long. They just stay close as super protective parents. The orangutan mother also uses this time to teach her cubs a variety of skills, and when it comes to daughters, they tend to stay with the mother even longer than the males, specifically to learn maternity techniques. So much so that even at 16 years old, they still return to visit the mother and continue learning. Number 14. Cheetahs. Cheetahs are among the most fascinating and talked about animals in the world for a simple reason. They are fast, very fast. In fact, they are the fastest land animals on the planet, depending on who you ask. Why is there always a debate about these things? They can even outrun a car in speed, but I'm not here to talk about their blazing speed. Today, I'm here to talk about their maternal skills, with one of the greatest being their ability to multitask. What does this mean? Well, when it comes to cheetah litters, there are usually 4 to 6 cubs to care for, and the mother has to teach each of them how to hunt, hide from predators, and even understand the territory they live in. That's a huge task for a single mother, especially with so many cubs. And here's the twist. After about 2 years of intense training, the mother actually abandons her cubs to start another family. The siblings then split into 2 groups. The males stay together and cooperate to survive, while the females prefer to live alone and go their own way. That's probably not what you expected, right? Maybe it's a sense of independence they learned from their mother, or perhaps they prefer to be alone to attract certain males when it's time to start their own family. Number 15. Pythons. Let's start by talking about a species of animal famous for not being good mothers: snakes. Although there are many different species, the vast majority do one very specific thing when it comes to raising their offspring. They simply don't care for them. Typically, the mother snake lays the eggs in a hole, buries them for protection, and then leaves, abandoning them to their fate. Not exactly worthy of a Mother of the Year award, right? But, as revealed by National Geographic, there is at least one species of python that lays eggs and shows some maternal instincts, proving that a mother's love knows no bounds even when she has sharp fangs. A reptile researcher named Graham Alexander spent 7 years observing southern African pythons, which can grow up to about 1.8 meters in length, weigh up to 60 kilograms, and take down prey the size of an antelope. In other words, it's a snake you definitely don't want to mess with. As for how they show maternal care, they absorb excess sunlight through their skin, which changes color during the process, and then return to the nest where they laid the eggs, coiling around them to keep them warm. Apparently, they do this because the eggs are not yet fully matured due to excess yolk and would otherwise hatch underdeveloped. Some of these mothers even die during this process because they starve to death while protecting the eggs. Now that's dedication. Number 16. Alligators. Think about this. Alligator mothers rarely get the attention they deserve. Now, think about the young ones and how they were once pets for some people before being tossed into the sewers. And then you think about the adults, in terms of gender, because they have the habit of attacking people. But honestly, do you know how alligator mothers really take care of their babies? First, when making their nests, they use a very special ingredient: rotting plants. Yes, that's right. But why? Well, the way they create this sort of compost pile allows the nest itself to generate heat, and because of this, they don't need to sit on the eggs like other creatures, knowing that they will always be kept warm. This also provides security and protection. After the babies are born, the mothers carry them in their mouths to protect them, helping them reach the water, where they will spend their first years of life eating fish, insects, snails, and crustaceans. This makes sense when you think about it, because what could be safer than the jaws of an alligator? It's always important to remember why the alligator mother works so hard to help her offspring. While most people agree that you should never mess with an adult alligator, the babies are easy prey, and many predators go after them. That's why the mother stands guard until the little ones can take care of themselves. Number 17. Koalas. Ah, the koala, one of the most iconic animals of the land known as Australia. Is it a country or a continent? And how can it be both if it's called by 2 different names? Anyway, it's a creature that most people find adorable for various reasons, especially because of its cute appearance and small size. But when you discover what they do to survive and take care of their offspring, it becomes even more impressive. For example, you probably know that koalas' favorite food is eucalyptus leaves. But did you know that these leaves are extremely poisonous? Yes, they eat toxic food every day. So how is the species still alive? Well, koalas' digestive systems have bacteria that neutralize the poison. Pretty handy, right? But there's a catch. Although mothers can eat this without a problem, the same doesn't apply to the babies. When they are born, they don't have that immunity. Maybe they should eat peas, like my adorable guinea pig, Twinkle. So, what does a mother do in this situation? Simple. She feeds her baby with her own feces. That's right. The mother produces a special type of excrement that the babies eat. And here you are thinking your mom's food is bad. The reason for this is that, by consuming this feces, the babies acquire the necessary bacteria to strengthen their immune system and, therefore, safely digest eucalyptus leaves. Oh, and in the first 6 months of life, they stay inside the mother's pouch going through this process. After that, they remain with her for a few more months before becoming more independent. And the koala mothers? They sleep about 22 hours a day. Now that's a work cycle I'd love to have. Number 18. Elephants. One could argue that elephants have some of the toughest mothers in nature for some very specific reasons. First of all, giving birth to an elephant calf is far from an easy task. Elephant mothers undergo a pregnancy that lasts nearly 2 years. When the babies are finally born, they weigh, on average, about 90 kilograms. Think about that for a moment. Not only are they pregnant and dealing with everything that comes with it for about 24 months, but when they give birth, the calf is as heavy as an adult human, or even heavier, and that's just the beginning. Elephant mothers typically nurse their calves until they are 2 or 3 years old, and the babies can drink up to about 10 liters of milk per day. Still think that's not much? Well, while most animals in the animal kingdom become independent once they reach a certain level of maturity, that's not the case with elephants. Mothers usually stay with their offspring for life. That's a long time to bond with your mom, right? And during this time, they'll be there to hug, kiss, and play with their calves, because they're always close by. The bond between mother and child is so strong that they literally never forget each other, even if they are separated. I guess it's true what they say, an elephant never forgets. Number 19. Penguins. Penguins are truly special creatures, not only in the way they have their offspring, but also in the way both parents participate in the caregiving. You probably already know that among penguins, there is a role reversal. The mother lays the eggs, and the father takes responsibility for protecting them during their development. More specifically, emperor penguins reproduce during the Antarctic winter, laying their eggs in May. After the female lays the eggs, she hands them over to the male, who keeps them warm under a fold of skin above his feet. He balances them there for about 64 days while the female goes to the ocean to hunt. During this time, the males group together to stay warm, fast, and incubate the eggs with dedication, waiting for their partners to return. When the mother comes back, she makes a special call to find her mate in the midst of the colony's crowd. Now with food, the mother feeds the newborn chicks and cares for them while the males go hunting. This cycle repeats until the young penguins can hunt on their own. Until then, they are carefully watched over by both parents, as any carelessness could cost the chick's life due to the harsh environment and predators around. Number 20. Polar bears. We've all heard the term mama bear used to describe when a mother, whether human or animal, goes to great lengths to protect her offspring. But when we observe these real bears, we realize that their birth and protection cycle goes far beyond what we imagine. For example, in the case of polar bears, the mother has to go through certain stages just to be able to have cubs. The father is usually not present, so the mama bear needs to gain about 180 kilograms to safely carry the pregnancy to term. If she doesn't manage to gain this weight, her body reabsorbs the fetus. Fortunately, if she can eat enough, she moves on to a simpler process. She digs a maternity den, usually in a snow mound, and enters a hibernation-like state, during which she doesn't eat for 2 months and even sleeps through the birth. This means she doesn't feel pain during delivery, something many human mothers would surely like to experience. After the birth, the mother nurses and cares for her cubs for about 2 years, ensuring they are ready to face the world. It's worth noting that the cubs are born blind and toothless, so they rely entirely on their mother to survive. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Don't forget to check out other interesting content appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.